think it might just be a tiny bit too bright. Yeah, there we go. It's a little softer. A little softer, a little easier on the eyes. Alright, so we actually already have some people waiting here. Jeez. I have yet to get the crumb out of the eyes. Already been awake for like 3 hours. 4 hours, almost. Hey, Bones, you're becoming a regular, aren't you? How's it going? Hair's getting long. Beard's getting long. Basically, my normal head and facial hair is very indicative of where we're at right now in society. So it's kind of matching. Oh, man. And for a little while, I was also kind of going back and forth as to whether or not I should have gone live today. Not because I didn't feel like it. I actually did feel like going live in terms of like attitude and mindset and all that stuff. I just figured in terms of logistically, in terms of time, because I am knuckling down. I am crunching to get this LPZZ Arkham Knight Batman figure review done by Sunday. It'd be nice. It would be nice. And right now we are on the... What day is it today? Thursday? It is, in fact, September 11th. Never forget. Big Rib, welcome to the stream. And that's another reason for why I wanted to stream, is because I feel like right now, I feel this way. I can't really speak for others that are either in chat or lurking, but I personally want to get off social media for a little while here, for at least, if I'm not distracting myself away from social media through editing or through filming or through gaming, then let me do it through a stream at least. And I know that today is probably the only day I'm going to be able to stream before practically next week, because I got plans with the girlfriend tomorrow. We're going for a drive tomorrow, which I think we both need to get out of town, just get some air, go to a local cookie spot that her and I like. They have a new flavor of the month, and I want to try it out. It's called Caramel Pecan. But then this weekend is filming time, and my parents are home the entire time, so they make it very impossible to stream. So I know that if I don't stream today, I'm not going to be able to stream until the earliest Monday, and even then, I don't know. Plus, we got some stuff to talk about. So CM Brock, welcome to the stream. Alex, welcome. Where's that review of the Arkham Knight Batman? It's like... What percentage would I say? I want to say it's maybe 70% done, maybe 75% done. I'm stressed. It's funny because I keep trying to temper my stress levels because I'm like, I'm behind. But then I look at how many of the markers I have filled in. I have 100 markers on the timeline that need B-roll. However, out of those 100 markers, and yes, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and some of you are going to get annoyed right now, but I'm sorry. It's in my nature. Fucking review is an hour long. It's an hour long video. But of course, it's not just a review. It's also a comparison. Literally the last third of the video is comparing it to the Amazing Yamaguchi and even the McFarlane. Just throwing those two in there. So mild spoilers for the LPZZ Arkham Knight Batman. The first 2/3 is an actual direct review, and then the last third is actually comparing it to the McFarlane and the Amazing Yamaguchi. Now, the main review, like the A-roll, the talking head stuff, that's edited. It's been edited since like Monday. Since Monday, I've been shooting a bunch of B-roll. On Monday, was it Monday or was it Tuesday? It was Tuesday, actually. Now I remember it was Tuesday. I ran into a snag that was just so irritating. Quick story time here before we get into the main topics. But one thing that I think I feel right now I'm 70 to 75% done. I'm on track to have it up by Sunday morning. So when you guys wake up late and you guys are getting your pancakes or your biscuits or your cereal, whatever the hell you like to eat on a Sunday morning, all late, like we all do, either before or after church, whatever the case may be. That review will hopefully be ready for you. But just keep in mind, like I said, it's gonna be a good hour or so, cause that's how I roll. And I know people are like, "Oh my god, your reviews are so long," and I'm like, you can pause it. You know you can pause it, right? You can add it to your watch later, come back to it later. And this one for sure I will add chapters. I typically don't add chapters for my videos that are under a half an hour, but when they're over half an hour and on the cusp of being an hour, I'm like, you know what, I'll add chapters to this. I'll do just the breakdown of the figure as a chapter, the articulation as one chapter, accessories as a chapter, and then comparison as another one. But the quick story that I was going to say that I think would have put me at 80% done and would have put me a little farther ahead by this point if it wasn't for the snag was that on Tuesday I discovered that not only the A-roll, and this is an exclusive sneak peek to those of you who are tuning into the stream right now, so anybody who's not watching the stream and doesn't catch the VOD on playback probably won't know this, and hopefully if they can't tell, then okay, maybe I did my job as a reviewer. But I discovered on Tuesday that since I filmed the A-roll over the weekend to then Tuesday when I discovered discovered this, so whatever B-roll I shot on Monday and part of Tuesday before I discovered this, somewhere in the process of swapping out lenses, a fucking dust speck flew into the sensor. So there I am, editing the A-roll, never noticing, editing some B-roll, and then somewhere in there, I went and changed, because when I edit on Vegas, I edit through Vegas, but to minimize the workload on my computer, I lower the quality of the preview window to like not even 480p. I want to say I lower it to even less than that, like 240p, where it's like super pixelized. But I do it on purpose so that I can edit smoother. Like it's a very quick and smooth, easy edit. Because I already know I shot the footage. At least I think I did. And I shot the footage, and so I'm just trying to get the timing done. I'm just trying to get the right shots done. You know what I'm saying? So I purposely lowered the quality. To then double check that color correction and all that is good, I raised the quality back up to 4K in the preview just for like a couple seconds, just so I can see how the color correcting is doing. I changed it to 4K, and then that's where I noticed I do like a movement on the B-roll, and there's a speck that's not moving. Because if it was moving, then obviously it's either on the floor or it's on the figure. Worst case, best case scenario, it's on the figure. Oh well, but it's on the figure. At least it's getting out of the way, past the point of focus that I'm trying to hone in on with my camera movement. No, it's staying on there. And at first I thought that there was maybe like a corruption within that B-roll footage, but then I saw that it was also on the A-roll, the static white shot where I have my hands and I'm messing with the figure. There it is. And I won't tell you guys where it is. If for those of you who are watching the stream, when you catch the LPZZ review, let me know in the comments of that video if you see the spec. But there it is, even in the A-roll, which means ever since Saturday afternoon when I shot that, there it fucking was, that little speck. And the fact that it was both on the B-roll that I was using a macro lens on and the A-roll where I was doing a different lens, that's where I noticed, oh, it's not on the lens, it's in the sensor. And the worst case scenario that played in my head was, I'm hoping that it's not a fracture in the sensor or a burn-in from some light, which is permanent, which means it's going to stay there until I get a new camera. I guess, thankfully, if you want to call it that, it truly was just a dust speck, which means all I had to do is just open the lens, blow in it. I shot another shot just for test purposes. That was also part of my B-roll. Sure enough, the speck now is gone. So there's going to be half B-roll that might have the speck, half B-roll that won't have the speck. So yeah, that sent me back, and my OCD got the better of me because for those of you who don't know, I'm a perfectionist. But on top of that, the reason why I'm a perfectionist is because I do happen to have undiagnosed OCD. I still have yet to see a doctor, but I'm pretty certain I have legit OCD because I started to feel physically ill seeing the spec on the screen and knowing that the video was not as good as it was, to the point where I compromised with myself and I told myself, okay, any B-roll that you can tell the spec is at least out of the way from focus of what you're trying to focus on the shot, as far as like a texture pattern or a piece on the armor, etc., then leave those alone. Don't reshoot those, leave those alone, leave those in there. But something that is a little bit quicker to redo, like the articulation, my OCD, like I said, got the best of me, and I had to reshoot the articulation close-ups. Which, if I play my cards right, it doesn't take long. It takes like 10 minutes. But just the fact that I had to reshoot it, I was just like, oh my god. So I was super annoyed on Tuesday of having to do that. And that set me back a little bit, which is why right now I feel like that this video would have been 80 to 85% done. But I have to say about 70 to 75 because I got held back a bit on Tuesday's workload. If that makes any kind of sense. So yeah, that happened. Story time over. Let me check out on the chat. Talking about LPZZ Batman, just got my invoice yesterday or the day before, so awesome. Can't wait for the review. I'm sorry. Got to see all the moves my BB can pull. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why my videos are so long, is because I tried to get every nook and cranny in there. Random comment, but I watched almost all the Arkham Origins gameplay. Got an hour left. Arkham Origins is by far the most fun game story-wise. But why you're watching it, but you're not playing it, Alex? Where did you PO, bro? I got one from YK Toys and take it forever. The chapters will be very appreciated. Very helpful feature. Gotta love it. Maurice Phillip, welcome to the stream. Good time zone. Oh no, the dust. Yeah. I'll allow it for this one. I've seen other reviews that seem too short, so this will be a treat. I'm expecting two of mine to be delivered in a couple of days. Yeah, and like I said, the video will technically be just about 40 minutes, but the last 20 to 25 minutes is the comparison. And at one point, I thought about separating it into two parts, but I feel like that, I don't know, my brain just goes, just do one big video. But add the chapters. So yeah, working on that, and that's also another reason for why I wanted to go live just a smidge earlier today, even though it was still technically late, but I wanted to go live just a tiny bit earlier because I technically want to wrap the stream a little earlier so I can get back to editing. And what I was originally saying... Oh, you got an ad, Alex? Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Let me know, guys, if the ads are still bad, because I've tried. Oh my God, CM Bronk. CM Bronk, thank you for this. I don't know. Once I start, because ever so often I want to add a super chat alert, but at the same time I just never really think that I'm gonna get super chatted that frequently. But CM Bronk, thank you for the $10 super chat. Don't hold back from adding any comments to that if you need be. Big Rip, we're about to get into that. But yeah, my own imposter syndrome gets in the way of not adding a super chat alert, because I never think that I'm gonna really get that amount of super chats. But I feel like maybe once I start averaging like 50 viewers per stream, if that ever happens in the pretty far and humbling future, then that's where I'll probably start adding alerts for everything, for subscriptions, for super chats, memberships, if that ever happens, because then I'll at least have a slight boost of the ego to be like, oh, there might be some super chats. But right now, I just never expect it. Right now, I just go live. Expect folks to be in the chat, and then we could just kind of shoot the shit as I cover some of these topics. But like I mentioned before, I'm at 70-75% done, because out of the 100 markers that I have on the timeline, almost 80 of them are actually already filled in. The only thing I have left to do is to like reframe the shot so that it closes up on what I need it to close up. and time it right so that it cuts off right where it needs to cut off. And once that happens, delete the marker, move on to the next one. The easiest ones to do are the articulations and the accessories, especially when it comes to like the hand accessories, because it's literally the same shot and the same amount of time. So I'm like, all right, reframe, copy and paste, copy and paste. I can delete like 5 in like a minute. So that's why I'm like, all right, I would say probably by the end of today, I'll have a good chunk of that stuff done. That I think the only thing that, like I said, gets slightly in the way, trying not to be a douche here, but spending the day with my girlfriend tomorrow is definitely puts a little bit of a hamper on the time that I can edit. So that's why I'm trying to get as much editing done today as possible, because I know that tomorrow I won't be able to edit much. And then this weekend, if I can grab it. And then this weekend, I got this guy waiting for me. So I need I'm probably going to crack this open today, because I actually already shot the box B-roll for this. So you know that B-roll you guys see at the beginning of the videos that show the figure in box. You see like the sides, the panel, the back, etc. That quick stuff. Those quick pans, those quick, the turntable, the tilt-ups, the looks, the close-ups of the sides and all that stuff. I already shot all that, so this guy is ready to be unboxed. So I'll probably unbox it today, play with it a little bit. Play with it a little bit tomorrow night after I get home. And then probably starting Saturday. Well, I think I might still need Saturday to play with it a bit more, and then to feel it next to the Mafex. The Figure Arts. For shits and giggles, I'll feel it. I do have the Legends Andrew over there, but I just know that compared to the Legends, it's mostly for fun, not as a serious comparison. The serious comparison is going to be to the Figure Arts. So I have to mess with that, and I think maybe I'll start shooting the reviews Sunday. And I think Saturday I'm finally gonna get the 77 Spider-Man, because I do have the 77 Spider-Man Marvel Legends, and I've been putting off that review over and over and over because I pivoted it to LPZZ Batman, and that's been taking focus. So all my attention has been going to that. So what I'm thinking is that since I need an extra day to play with this guy, I think Saturday I'm going to film the 77 Spider-Man Marvel Legends. Sunday I'll shoot the review portion of this. And then I think there's going to be a day. It could be either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll have to see which day it is. But I think one of those days my mom has a doctor's appointment, which means I'll be home alone for like an hour and a half, and I'm like, you know what, there it is. That's the perfect time to do the comparison to the Marvel Legends and the Figure Arts for this guy, and that's when I'll shoot that. So hopefully, no guarantees. I can't guarantee it right now because life can happen. We'll see, but hopefully this guy will be next week's review. So this Sunday, fingers crossed, LPZZ Arkham Knight Batman. Next weekend, this guy and the comparison. And then maybe somewhere in between there, really, really quick, the 77 movie Spider-Man. That, the one with the big eyes and the hands. Just for shits and giggles, because I forgot that I put down a pre-order for that back in like March. And I was one of the blessed, lucky ones to not have gotten their order canceled for some reason. Bones, no. It's the perfect time to get the jar out. All right, we have been screwing around. Let's talk about some of these topics, and we are going to be getting through some of these topics pretty diligently, but effectively, since, like I said, I don't want this stream to go on for too long, because I do want to get back to editing this content. And like I said, even though I only got literally less than 20 markers to fill in, those 20 markers are in fact the comparisons of the LPZZ versus the McFarlane versus the Amazing Yamaguchi. And sometimes those are the most tasking and I don't want to say grading. I don't want to say any negative words, but they're the ones that take more effort and more energy, because effectively you're shooting the same shot twice only you're swapping one figure for the next, but you're shooting 2 shots for one to compare the head, to compare the chest, to compare the arms. You're doing it over and over again, but this time you're swapping one figure for the other and then splitting the image next to each other. So I have to do that. So it takes a while. It's more effort. So I have to get to that. So let's start with our first topic, which, who was it? I think it was Big Rib, even kind of mentioned here really quickly in the chat, because guys, remember how a little while ago we said that some of these companies were getting a little complacent, something that I actually kind of touched upon a little bit in the upcoming LPZZ Batman review, which may or may not already be up on the channel if you're catching this as a spliced up segment, as a video already after the fact. But it looks like LPZZ is not holding back on the momentum that they're establishing for themselves, because not only is their first ever foray into the 112 market, or more or less released, it's just now up to the sellers, up to the marketplaces and the storefronts to finally get their allotments out. I know that some of you have already mentioned that 5K Toys is kind of taking their time. Toyverse is now finally shipping some of theirs out. I just recently got my unit from Bombasby, which I have yet to determine what I'm going to do with that one. But, retailers like Bombasby, 5K Toys, Toyverse, an awful lot of these folks are finally starting to send their owns out. And so I think right around the corner, LPZZ or /UP Find Yours, if that's like their new name, they're probably putting the finishing touches on that Deathstroke, which is set to release Q4 of 2025. So fingers crossed by the end of the year. But in the midst of all that, LPZZ, in a slightly, I don't want to say crude, but slightly less eloquent way of confirming, because they don't really do too many of these like really professional shots of announcements. It's almost like it's kind of hinted at by either designers on the team or by LPZZ tagging themselves on social media. So they can maybe do a little bit of a neater way to kind of present some of these announcements. But from the little that we have seen on social media, it does sort of seem like LPZZ is sort of determined on releasing yet another Batman figure. And that is going to be for, if I can get my screen swapped out here, which apparently I didn't calibrate quite accurately. Oh, here we go. LPZZ /UP Find Yours, Batman vs. Superman, the Ben Affleck Batman. And it looks like this is more or less what it's going to look like. This is, from what I can tell, a prototype that initially I wasn't sure if it was legitimate, to be completely honest, because these days you can never really be too sure with the likes of AI and whatnot. But this was in fact shared by the official LPZZ UPF official Instagram account. This is technically a post that was put up on Reddit by a user, Illustrious Key, on the action figure subreddit. But I know, I have it in good authority, that LPZZ themselves, which I believe, and we'll get to that one right there in a second, some of my saved stuff right here, because that's where I have it. It's mostly just memes, especially this one with the Emperor Kuzco one. That's funny. But let me go to the LPZZ's official. Here we go. This one right here. They themselves even posted this. Okay? And shared it with also somebody named Mighty Edward Mighty Edward number 1. Wow. I was going to say Eduardo. Mighty Edward number 1, who I believe is one of the designers and sculptors on the team. And they tagged both themselves and attached themselves to this post, the LPZZ official Instagram, to show off this prototype of the Ben Affleck LPZZ Batman. And as far as I can throw it, I am in fact liking what I'm seeing. I know that at times it gets a little difficult to start discerning, from photos at least, from just simple illustrations and photos that we just look through our screens on computers and phones and such. It's difficult to really, talk about whether or not the texture's better than like the recent 2.0 from Mafex, if it's going to be better than the InArt. I know that some people are already starting to throw out the argument if this is going to be able to tower the InArt. considering that I even was one of the folks that managed to see the InArt maquette for the 1/12 scale BBS Batfleck there at the San Diego event that they had. So people are already starting to create the debate. And so we have this photo with the diorama in the front, which I believe is the diorama from the Hot Toys. And they just used it here to kind of give it a little bit of life, a little bit of a backdrop. But then over here we have that white backdrop static image of the studio lighting. And overall, do I like what I'm seeing? Yes. I love the texture work. I like the solid nature to the utility belts, while at the same time not looking too muted, but also not too colorful, making sure that it blends in right. Albeit I think the hue is a little different. I think this one leans a little bit more towards the gold, where I think it's a little more opaque in the movie. But I do like the scratches on the bat symbol there. I think the biceps and the shoulders could be a little bit more buff from what I can tell. But overall, the texture work is top notch. I'm liking the cape. I'm liking that they're still keeping in line with the consistency of other BVS Batfleck figures that we've seen in the past, both in this scale and even in some of the more premium formats like Hot Toys, where they go for this tattered look to the lining here towards the bottom. Looks like we're going to have 5 wires once again. I do love the stitching and the way that it's kind of creased here around the top right here, so I like that. It's just the standard cape that you would expect here towards the ends, but over here they refined it to make it look a bit more screen accurate. And then we got the cowl, which admittedly the cowl looks pretty solid. Let's go back to this other shot right here. Likeness could be a little better. I do think that something is a little lost on the chin. It's not terrible, but I do think that the chin could be just a little better. I think they captured the little bit of the butt chin and the 5 o'clock shadow nicely from Ben Affleck's portrayal, but I think the mouth shape could be a little different. I think he's got a little bit more cheek, and there's not enough cheek here. Because, Ben Affleck's got some puffy cheeks. Even when he was buff to be Batman in this role, you couldn't get rid of those cheeks. So this was still kind of coming through the cowl, and I feel like that this is just a little too flush. But the eyes, small spoilers for the LPZZ Arkham Knight Batman review that I'm still working on here. But one of the things that I will definitely praise in that video is how lifelike the eyes are, to where he never looks dead. It never looks like there's nothing behind the eyes. It always looks like there's someone looking through the cowl, and it managed to hone that in from the design that is interpreted in the Rocksteady game. And it looks like LPZZ managed to do something with the eyes, whoever they got on the team, to make sure that the eyes look lifelike and don't look so uncanny and deadpan. It's looking like they got something going on right here, where they just looked at photos of Ben Affleck, and I can see that a little bit here in these photos. Like I said, we're gonna need a couple of more promo photos, but from what I'm seeing right here, I'm already being sold. So I'm gonna be keeping tabs on this to see exactly if we're gonna get some more material. I actually have it. I wonder if my comment is here, because I actually did post the comment. Is it here? We'll see. Yep, here I am. Well, here's this one. I think it's gonna be in the other. Okay, here I am right here. That head sculpt demands a macro shot. So, okay, I don't think it's in this post. It's in the next one. I'll show it to you guys in a second. But right now, the only other concern, although it really depends on who you're asking here, because some people are going to be okay with it. I'm personally okay with it, just as long as, the articulation is not compromised, because I know there's going to be some people who are going to consider these cuts on the body to be a little egregious as far as the articulation is concerned. But at the same time, in the scale, you kind of need the articulation. If you're looking for something that's a bit more blended, or you want it to be synchronized with actual cloth materials to be covering up the joints or whatnot, I'm sorry, but you are going to have to look at 1/6 scale. Whether it be with Hot Toys or whenever they come around it, which I'm pretty certain is around the corner, is going to be InArt. Because for those of you who don't know, InArt, just a little while ago, a couple weeks ago, their Batman vs Superman Wonder Woman not only was unveiled, but went up full on for pre-order. 2 out of 3, 2 done, just 1 to go. All right, Superman is done, Wonder Woman's done. I mean, come on. That would be the biggest blue balls that InArt could ever give 1/6 scale collectors if they don't do a 1/6 scale Ben Affleck Batman. Come on, it's coming. It's coming. And that's where you're going to have to then make sure that the mesh material is there. So your options are going to have to be the new 2.0 Hot Toys or the upcoming InArt that they have yet to reveal. But this is not the only thing that LPZZ is working on. In that same vein, since I have the account already open here, they also unveiled the BVS / Justice League, since it technically appeared in both, Ben Affleck, Batfleck, whatever you call it, Batmobile. Now, it's funny because I said that this is coming from LPZZ, and it's cool and it's interesting. Then I had some others come forward saying it's technically not a vehicle, it's a model kit. And I'm like, tell me in the chat, guys, I feel like both can be true. Like, yeah, it could be a model kit, but it could also be a functioning model kit because according to this official reveal by LPZZ, which is a little bit cleaner, a little nicer aesthetically than that of the BVS Batman, because you got a full, like, graphic here with, like, decorative backgrounds and shadows and lighting and compositing, and you have the reflection of the water there, complete with, like, logos, and when it's coming out, which from what I can tell, I can't read the Chinese here, but from what I can tell, this is set to release in November of 2025, literally in a couple of months. But not only that, but they gave us like full down breakdowns of the entirety of the pieces here. So here's the entirety of the model kit disassembled, and then right above it, assembled with what I can distinguish as fully functioning lights. And then here, small little translations to indicate that we have the engine component, the steering wheel, structure, the suspension, etc. A little bit of a breakdown of the internals. And then over here, from what I can tell, a fully opening canopy with the 2 seats there in the middle, decked out with nice little paint jobs. The sculpting is looking pretty decent, pretty nice. The wheels admittedly look a little cheap. They look like just full-blown plastic. It would have been nice if those were rubberized. But then over here, kind of a demonstration of setting it up to look like either from BBS or, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I believe these pieces attached to it then transforms it into the Justice League version. Not unlike the recent crowdfund project that McFarlane literally just ended. Which is definitely something that crossed my mind when this was unveiled, where I was like, yo, y'all are not just unveiling this literally like I think a week or so after, maybe a week and a half after McFarlane ended their project, of which I did in fact fund, not at the full amount. I didn't do the full tier. I did the middle tier so I can get an extra bat signal in case I need it for filming purposes. But that's it. I didn't get the black and gray Trinity set because I saw them in person. I didn't really think that they were all that special, to be honest. Don't need the poster, even though it would be cool to have something autographed by Todd. But at the same time, I was, looking at the price allotment, and I'm like, you know what? I'll settle for just the middle tier to get the extra Batfleck and the extra signal, just for, like I said, for B-roll, that without having to go to storage and pull the signal from the Ultimate Movie 6-pack, etc. So, it's more convenient. But even having done that, I was like, damn, but now we got LPZZ doing theirs. And I know I had some people go into the comments when I posted this as a community post saying that it's not LPZZ. It's also from a company, like it's actually from a company called Zinwanshe Yuanwei Culture. I'm probably butchering those names. My apologies if I am. But yet it's being shared by LPZZ officials. So like, which one is it? Because I'm getting conflicting reports. And I'm seeing the literal Upine Figures logo. They're at the bottom of the graphic. And it's through this specific picture that I saw this Batfleck right next to it for scale. And I'm like, yo, when are we getting more insights into this? And I think we're literally within the same hour or so, we got those other photos that I've already shown off. And so then we get some more photos of it actually in the cockpit fitting into the pilot's seat, complete with the wheel, the light that actually shows the little. It's probably not a functioning camera. It's just a light for illusion like purposes. The dashboard right there with some more lights. So there's actually functioning lights, not only within the exhaust, but even the front right there. They're probably gonna require those little like chip, little circular chip like batteries to fill that in and to power those. But overall, model kit or not, I am really liking what I'm seeing for this. And this is coming from someone who doesn't necessarily favor this overall design of the Batmobile as far as the cinematic Batmobiles that we've gotten thus far. However, that was my next thought, because what's important here is that LPZZ or UP Find Yours or Zhuanshe Yuanye Culture, however you pronounce that name, what can they possibly do in the future for other cinematic Batmobiles? And that was actually akin to a comment that even I posted. I don't know if... here we go. Oh Lord, this opens many doors. And I actually got a response from Mighty Edward number 1 saying, haha, indeed. Mighty Edward number 1, like I said, from what I can tell, is one of the designers on the team. So he, and I'm presuming that a good chunk of the people over at LPZZ, they're scouring social media, they're gauging the fan feedback, the response, to see what people are like. So, we have to make our opinions and our takes known. And then I posted another comment here saying, any updates regarding that BVS Batman on the 7th slide, which is this slide right here. Because at the time of me posting this comment, we didn't get those other photos. Those other ones with him kind of like this, or this one. Like, we didn't get these. We hadn't had these yet. So I posted that. And where did the comment... Oh, here we go. I did get a response saying, we'll show up on WF Shanghai next month. And that's when that made me realize, oh yeah, come October, there's actually going to be a event in Shanghai, China, that has to do with toy collecting and all that stuff. It's actually the same event that InArt has actually made their presence known at a couple of years running now. I think ever since like 2023, maybe 2022, they were appeared there, where they've shown off in a handful of 1/6 and 1/12 stuff. So the competition in the 1/12 market is definitely heating up, and it looks like we're about to see a major form of a clash happen next month at WF Shanghai. Not just with what LPZZ is going to be showing off with their BVS Batman and their model kit for the Batmobile, but it does seem like InArt also has plans. I tried finding it. I haven't been able to find it prior to this stream, so I apologize, but they might have deleted it. But I think it was on their Facebook. It could have been on their Facebook. I'll try finding it again. But I think it was on their Facebook. Somebody from InArt or within the InArt Facebook group. Let me see if I could find it while I talk. But basically, they did hint at the fact that they are currently, prepping. They're currently, making arrangements and preparing to show off their booth at WF Shanghai. Like, they're literally putting up stuff to show things off, and they're going to be doing a combination of 1/6 and 1/12 scale reveals and showcases at WF Shanghai. So I'm definitely going to be keeping that on the radar as far as what they're going to be showing off at that event. And along with that, I did have technically a little bit of a graphic. Let me see if I have... Oh, here we go. Found it. InArt themselves did make this update over on Facebook. I'm kind of pulling this from the Reddit, which was this list of things that are kind of coming down the pipeline. and it was posted on. This was a summary from a live stream they did. I don't think that the live stream was viewable to the public here in the U.S. because they are based in China, so they were probably streaming to like Bilibili or something like that. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing this like on their official YouTube channel or anything like that. But apparently they had a stream on the 27th of August, and a quick recap of the bullet points here. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but most of them are talking about the little modifications and the thing, and also clarifying and confirming certain details about the 1/6 scale BVS Wonder Woman. So the first like third of this is talking about that Wonder Woman. Then they reference a little bit of the upcoming Michael Jackson, etc. Then here in the middle they say 1/6 scale Catwoman is coming very soon. And then right underneath that, right on top of that, it says more official announcements coming. I can only assume that that's referencing WF Shanghai next month. And then underneath that, it says Batman, the Batman Pattinson, Robert Pattinson, will release this year. Exact timing, unknown. Now, it is a little strange that they don't clarify if it's 1/6 or 1/12, but one can only assume that it's 1/12, the one that we saw at the San Diego event. Because the 1/6 has already been out since last year. I literally own it. The one with the rooted hair, or if you went with the sculpted hair, along with also the Bruce Wayne, the all-in set that they call with the bat signal, etc. It's been out. It's for lack of a better term, it's old news. So I can only assume that they're referring to the 1/12 tier, which I'm still very, very, very much interested. And they reaffirm that that is going to be coming out this year. No plans to make John Wick, which is kind of interesting considering that right now John Wick is very much being discussed within the 1/6 scale community between Hot Toys and the bastards over at J&D. Yes, I said it. New products will be announced next month. Okay, there you go. There's a WF Shanghai reference. 1/12 bronze. So here we have some Lord of the Rings and Wukong references here. No current plan for a casual outfit Wonder Woman, but they may consider it depending on fan enthusiasm for the BVS version. 1/6 scale Christian Bale Batman will also be this year. Granted, they have been talking about that for a really long time, so let's hope so, because they're kind of, for lack of a better term, they're kind of overdue for this. They've been referencing it since, like, I want to say 2022, 2023. So, yeah, a really nice deep dive showcase, possibly maybe even next month, would for that WF Shanghai event. Would be nice to see that 1/6 scale Christian Bale, to see exactly what kind of competition they can brew for not just Hot Toys, but also for, like I said, those guys over at J&D, and to show them what they could do without having to charge nearly in the quadruple digits. Because, I mean, come on, that's fucking ridiculous. 1/6 scale Bruce Lee is in development, so that's interesting. I knew that they were doing a 1/12, but it's cool to see that they're also doing 1/6. The Walking Dead figures are close, been in production for a long time. Yeah, those are kind of overdue. Fourth Sister is in progress. I don't know what that is, if I'm being brutally honest. Legolas will ship according to the originally announced timeline, which I believe already has an unboxing video, so that's already set. So you can see right here that even InArt is starting to kind of take the puzzle pieces, and they're getting their pieces on the board, moving about. But like I said, I'm definitely taking a close look at that 1/12 Pattinson Batman that's going to be releasing possibly by the end of this year. And literally, and I wonder if I added it either to my Facebook or to my Reddit. Let me look for it. I could be wrong, but I think I actually saw this morning, if not there, it's probably on my Reddit, let me check, that InArt has plans prior to WF Shanghai, is actually planning. No, I didn't save it. I wonder if is it in the Hot Toys subreddit? I think it actually might be in the Hot Toys subreddit. No. Is it here? Where did I see it? Oh, you know what? I think I know which subreddit it is. Here we go. While we're still on the subject of InArt, but let me take a look at the chat, because I know I've been ignoring chat for a little bit. I went on a little bit of a tangent, so let me catch up on chat here. Jason's Electric and ZL17 Blackout Mike. Welcome to the stream, guys. I see you guys. I see you. Whew. Thirsty. November seems like a good time to release it. I feel like regardless, it may have a chance at not selling out if people actually want it by the time or before, since people are busy with the holiday. You'll be surprised because I think on Toys Metaverse, that BVS Batmobile from LPZZ model kit's already sold out. I put down a pre-order on Bombasby to be, was it on Bombasby? To be safe. But I'm going to reach out to cowkeys.com to see if they have any units that they can kind of set me off to the side, or if we can like negotiate on that so I can cover it on the channel. But we'll see. We'll have to see about that. There might be sister companies. That's a good point, Maurice. Like Queen Studios and InArt are technically, like, Queen Studios I think owns InArt, but they never like reference it. Spartan 107, welcome to the stream. Don't want to body swap the BBS Batman. What do you mean? Jesus Castro, welcome to the stream. The Batmobile is oh yeah, that too. That Batmobile is also available for pre-order at BBTS. You're right, Jesus. I didn't pre-order though because they are doing an NRD for it, and I'm like, Bombasby's NRD is literally $1, but BBS is, BBTS is doing it for like what, 10%, which is like $14, which I know is not like a crazy amount, but you know, that compared to $1. And yeah, tariffs, unless best case scenario something gets resolved by the time it releases, which I doubt, but who knows. I'm still waiting for that InArt Arkham Origins Batman. Yeah, Bones, and there's ever so often, especially today, after what I'm about to mention here really quick before I forget. Especially after today, there's a part of me that kind of wants to send out an email to InArt and be like, hey, touching base on what's happening since we're entering literally, I want to say the last third of the year, but honestly, guys, not to alarm you, we're just a few days away from it already being halfway done with September. Then a couple more weeks and it's October. And we're officially in Q4 of 2025. Which means some of this stuff should be releasing. But it also means that I'm looking at InArt going, okay, you know, that graphic that I just showed from the bullet points pulled from that stream, the black and white version. Yeah, I get what you're saying, because then it'll look a bit more realistic to the color tone as opposed to the bluish tint from the original. Okay, I get what you're saying, Spartan. McFarlane black and white beef is what for accuracy. Okay, yeah. Yes, I'm still gonna say no, and I guess because the main thing is the belt and the little accents on the knuckles and the boots are grayed out. It's not copper, and that means I would have to paint them. And I'm like, I get it. You know, the majority of the body's now color accurate, but at the same time, I'm losing color on the belt, and I'm like, nah. And like I said, I'm doing it for that one thing, but I have to pay, what is it, like the extra $30 or so, or no, $40 I think for those three. And God only knows that Wonder Woman and Superman, who are very colorful, literally red, blue, and gold, and skin tone. That's all there is for their color scheming. They're gonna be put away in storage, and I'm like, I couldn't justify it. I really couldn't. Like, my gut instinct kept saying go for the middle one. But yeah, I'm looking at InArt and thinking of those bullet points saying that, yeah, we're still going to release 112 Pattinson Batman. We're still going to release this 1/6 scale Bale Batman. And now you're bringing up Bones, the Arkham Origins Batman, and I'm pretty certain that that guy's been floating, as far as that prototype, has been floating since, I want to say, like 2023? I know for a fact 2024, because that's the events that I went to and I saw it in person. But I think prior to that, even late 2023, there were some, like, Chinese toy shows where there were, InArt showed off that 1/12 Arkham Origins Batman, like, mock-up that was, I think, unpainted. So that's how long this thing's been in production, and I'm like, it's 1/12? Like, you guys still haven't nailed it? Meanwhile, LPZZ already released theirs, and they're getting ready to release release number 2 with Deathstroke. That's why I'm like, ugh. Yeah, InArt's... I'm not going to say they're lagging, because at the same time, they haven't been quiet either, and they finally managed to ship out Legolas. But the 1/12, I think, has been a little dry, has been a little quiet. But like I said, that is potentially about to change, and the reason for why I feel like that could change is because I think I might have to, like I said, send out an email or establish some kind of correspondence with InArt to see if maybe that they can explain this. I'm pointing over here. Explain this. Some people, this was posted literally this morning, that some people are assuming that very, very soon this month, as soon as this month, pre-orders for the 1/12 scale Catwoman might be going up. So that Catwoman that I've been showing off that I showed off in the well, actually, I showed off last year in the InArt event for the fully painted version, and then this year I showed off that articulated but unpainted prototype that was on the table. Apparently it's going up for pre-order, and maybe that could be the reason for why the fully painted and fully articulated and detailed version wasn't at the show, was maybe because it was still back in China getting photos taken for those photos that they're probably going to show off when pre-orders go live for the 1/12 Dark Knight Rises Catwoman. She might be the next one to go up for pre-order, which is kind of neat, and it does kind of proceed in a good amount of momentum from the last 1/12 scale figure, which was from the same property, Dark Knight Rises, which would be the Christian Bale Batman, so they could pair well. But at the same time, just like Bones said, where's that Arkham Origins Batman? Because that guy has been around, I think, a little longer, and we're itching for that one. We're definitely itching for that one. I'm just gonna be brutally honest. Don't expect the pre-order amounts, the pre-order deposits, the orders being put down, as well as the hype to be as high for Catwoman as it was for that Bale Batman, or for what it could have been should this upcoming 1/12 pre-order could have been for Arkham Origins Batman. All right, because that hype would have definitely been a bit more elevated, but in this sense, it doesn't look like it's going to be. And then the only other thing, judging by these silhouettes, the only other 1/6 and 1/12 scale figures that are going to go up for pre-order are literally nothing but Black with Wukong. Because you can blatantly tell from the photos. Let me blow this up a little bit right here. You can see it's Wukong. This guy and this guy, if I'm not mistaken, I actually saw at the event. They took up a whole table. It's like his buddy right here, and then this villain, which did look kind of cool with the red armor, but I can tell from the spikes on the arms that that's what that is. Queen Studios statues, the 1/1 scale statue and the 1/3 scale statue, and then back over here. Okay, that's the one that was on the next graphic. There's Wonder Woman, who already went up for pre-order, and then this, which went up for pre-order technically in August. It was at the end of August, and that's why you see the separation here, and then it says 9, which means September. We're now in September, which means this month, in the 1/12, there's Catwoman. You can blatantly make out from the silhouette with the gun and the ears. I don't know who this is, but I can only assume it's Wukong again. It's 1/12, and could it be? No. I was going to say maybe it was... I was about to say maybe it was Red Death from Dark Knight's Metal, but he doesn't have like this skirt piece. I want to say it's still Wukong. still going to be a Wukong creature. I don't think it's any of the Dark Knight's metal figures. So just Catwoman. And if I'm not mistaken, if you couldn't make out from the chainsaw silhouetted arms, this is undoubtedly Chainsaw Man. They're making a Chainsaw Man in 1/6. I don't know what's the big infatuation with Chainsaw Man, but he got, I think, unveiled or teased a little while ago, and now we're finally going to get the pre-order for that. Again, I don't know where Arkham Origins Batman is, but it would be nice to get some information about him. And the reason for why I think I need to hit up InArt is because if she's going up for pre-order, then that means that being a 112 figure, it should be kind of right around the corner. So I kind of want to, like I said, touch base and create some kind of correspondence with InArt to see if there's any validness valid nature to these pictures, so to that graphic there. So yeah, that should be interesting. Well, I have literally most companies made an Arkham Origins Batman except McFarlane at this point. I don't know. I mean, they even made an Arkham Origins Deathstroke, but no Batman to pair it with. It's kind of heartbreaking. So if everything stays the same, InArt will be smaller and LPZZ will be taller than Mayfix and domestic lines. Yeah. Because it does seem... I really wish I could see that LPZZ in person. Because I will admit that the InArt looked like it was just barely 6 inches with the ears. And if you don't count the ears, you're looking at like 5 and some change of centimeters. I will admit that in terms of scaling. From the little bit of memory I have on from seeing it on the table at the event, so it's possible. We'll see. Yeah, am I the only one that feels like the year has gone by quick? Jesus. I hope LPZZ does Batman Origins. I think their scale is better than InArt. I just think it's too small. InArt is even smaller than Mezco. Judging by the one that I have so far, which is the Bale Batman, a little bit. Yeah. Quality's still there. Carmine Falcone. Carmine Falcone, welcome to the stream. You shouldn't be here. You should be in prison. No, I'm kidding. Which Toy Biz figure still holds up? I saw your comment in the other video. I mean... I didn't answer it because it wasn't a Toy Biz video, so I thought it was a little weird. But to answer your question, I guess the one that I want, even though I don't own it, the comic-based Spider-Man, the one that has like a billboard attached to it, I think that one's pretty good. But in terms of like the movie stuff that I do have, the Zipline Spider-Man or any of the superposable ones, Mindo PBR, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the stream. Thank you for subscribing again. Don't know if it means anything for me. It does. It does. I see your comment. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Crazy to me, people like you don't have way larger accounts. Keep it up. I will definitely, like I said, this is a vice. This is an addiction that I cannot let go of. It's just something that I got to do. It's a thing that makes me feel like a shark. That if I stop swimming, I feel like I'll sink and drown, and it keeps me distracted from all the bullshit that is happening right now in the world. So I will try to keep it up. As far as having larger accounts, I mean, I try not to take subscribers and followership too strongly these days, since I know that it's now in the interest of the algorithm to not really favor subscriberships, or I keep saying subscriberships, stupid word, subscriptions, subscriber counts. But it is what it is. It's just the nature of the whole business of being a YouTuber, being a content creator. Honestly, I don't get why these black and white vets? What are vets? Were made. Besides being a homage to a Snyder color poster, Todd should just make the regular suit Batfleck by now. That, and they technically did make the black and white cut of the Snyder cut, but I don't think it took off the way that they intended it. Oh, versions. Alex, I just saw your correction. Versions. I was like, black and white vets? Like, what do you have against veterans? Alex going around harassing veterans for no reason. Did you see Fonjoy's photos of BVS's Superman? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Because oh, god damn it, my YouTube crashed. Hopefully it's not it didn't crash the stream. It didn't crash the stream, did it? All right, we should be good. Because that was just like, this is just the dashboard. Are we good? Let me know, guys, if the stream got interrupted because my dashboard reset, but hopefully that was no problem. But Jesus, to answer your question, I think I did. I think I saw a glimpse of something. Let me go to Reddit. Because I know that everybody loves Reddit. Where? Let me type it in. Fonjoy BBS. Because I know that... Yeah, is it this? Holy shit. Fonjoy has a... Because obviously we already got the BVS Batman. The really, in my opinion, one of the finer looking ones. But it does look like they got a new Superman on the way. Apparently there's like a leaked image. Because we technically, and this would technically be a 2.0 of the Cavill Superman, right? Because we already got both a red and blue suit and a black suit, Cavill Superman, before. Not the best looking. It looks very anemic. You know, the face is off. Apparently, this is the one you're talking about, Jesus? This leaked image? I gotta be honest, the body on the Cavill Superman, it does look nicer. It does look much more proportionate. It looks like they're taking some notes from what they pulled from with the BVS Batman in terms of proportioning, and corrected some of those, especially with the neck from the original Cavill Superman that they had. The face is still questionable, though. Face is still a little weird. Again, this photo is immensely blurry. Maybe they'll correct it. It does look a little neater to that of Cavill's likeness, but those eyebrows, man. What is up with those eyebrows? He looks a little cartoony. And again, I'm hoping that we get another Fonjoy Corn Sweat Superman situation where we get these preliminary photos, looks off, but then in like a blink of an eye, they fix it and they release a new figure that has literally a different head, arguably better head sculpt inside the box versus what's literally on the photos on the outside of the box, which is what happened with the Corn Sweat Superman. So I'm kind of hoping that there's enough time to polish this guy up, because I understand that this photo is, like I said, a leaked image. It's a little blurry. We're getting a battle damage armored Batman, complete with the spear and his accessories and it looks like they're maybe ramping up to make this a 2-pack. I could be wrong. And while I'm here, let me close this. I guess Fonjoy's got an official Reddit. Let me join it so I don't miss anything. But yeah, I'm a little dubious. I'll admit that. I do like that we're getting a damaged version of the armored Batman, which I have yet to own. I yet to pick up the armored Batman, the tactical suit Batman from Justice League, and the Nightmare Batman with the trench coat from Fonjoy. I still have not gotten those three. I apologize. Once there's like a lull of content, maybe I'll look at some of the sites to see if I can get some of these things imported. But at the same time, the stuff with the tariffs is making me also kind of feel like I might have missed that window. I'm hoping that's not the case, but You know what I mean? Hold on. There were still some comments that I didn't get to see here before we move on to the next topic. They already have some LPZZ figures in Arkham Catwoman for on Bumblebee. I did see that. I will admit I still haven't put down pre-orders because it is just unpainted prototypes. I think it's still a little early. Those are like placeholder pages, so that's what's kept me from pre-ordering because I'm like, they're already a pre-release review of the in-art 1/6 scale. Yeah, I saw it went up on my feed. Justin Collections posted his preview unit, his prototype review. That's another thing that I'm like, okay, like these prototypes are being handed off. You know, Wonder Woman's going around, but so is Corn Sweat Superman going around. I'm wondering if InArt will do something similar for the 1/12 scale figures. Like if they're gonna ever like release prototype units. Thoughts about the Mezco Bale Batman compared to the rest? Maurice, hang on tight. It's on the Google Keep. Alex, but of course a rude ad has to interrupt mid-sentence, but I hear most of what you said. Like I said, I'm really hoping that, because I did modify the settings to make sure that the ads aren't as aggressive, but at the same time, there's times where I'm like, it still doesn't seem like I can fix that. Ooh. Sorry, somebody on the McFarlane Toys group posted that if you check out Ross, there might be some of those Superman Jim Lee figures up for like $10, down from 50. Shit. Okay, you guys said it's fine. Exactly, those were very horrible. Exactly that one. The face, I think it's weird. Okay, yeah, you're right. It could be the first 2-pack, but I don't know. The Mayfix one looks fine. I missed the pre-order for that one. Well, Jesus Castro, are you talking about the Mayfix one where his face is also kind of weird and his suit is way too bright? It's like glittery blue. That one I didn't even pre-order because even now I don't think that one's all that perfect either. Found out recently that YouTube made it so that if you watch TV, you get them more frequently. Bones, are you telling me that you're watching me right now on TV? How many of you are watching me on TV? That is crazy. Because I remember, I don't know if it was last month, but I think the month before, July or June, I went into my analytics and I found out that that it wasn't like a huge discrepancy, but it was like 40% of my viewers were actually watching me on TV. And then in second place, with only like 38%, was mobile. And I was expecting mobile to be like number one. But TV was number one at like 41%, and then 38% was mobile. And then the remaining, what is it? That's 80%. So the remaining 20%, out of that 20%, 15 I think was like desktop, which a computer. So watching it on regular computer. And then that 5% was tablet or other miscellaneous, whatever the case may be. Yes, sir. Awesome. I always watch on TV unless I'm going to sleep. Then it's up on YouTube on my phone. Phone for me. All right. Yeah, I mean, guys, I'm telling you right now, I get imposter syndrome whenever I hear that people watch me, either my streams or my content, my regular YouTube videos on TV, because it's TV. It's like you have the ability to pull up Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO Max to watch an actual show or movie, and yet you made the conscious decision to pull up YouTube and pull me up. And I don't take that for granted. Just know that. I don't take that for granted. Like, time is valuable, and yet you chose to watch me versus a show or a movie. That's insane to me. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I know that you can also technically do that on your phone, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, people, when it comes to people, don't really watch movies on their phones if they're already at home. I'm talking about like the context of being at home. Obviously, if you're like on a plane, on a bus ride or whatever, then you might pull up a show or a movie on your phone. By the way, I barely thought about this all this time, and McFarlane still hadn't made an Arkham City Tim Drake or Arkham Knight. When you say Arkham Knight, you mean Arkham Knight Tim Drake, the Robin that appeared in there? Out of everyone, the second main character is nowhere. Well, I don't know if I would call him a second main character, because I feel like the second main character is actually the Joker himself. He literally cameos in Arkham City, if I'm being honest. And I think he more than cameos, but still doesn't feel like a full supporting character in Arkham Knight. It's more than a cameo, but it's not like full on. I feel like Gordon is more of a secondary character than Tim Drake Robin is in Arkham Knight. Personally, I don't know. If McFarlane is almost done with the line, why not just finish the Arkhamverse or main Injustice 2 roster for game figures besides movies? I don't know. That is actually a pretty good question, Alex, in the chat, because McFarlane themselves is also making some moves here. They had some recent announcements of pre-orders are going to be going live pretty soon, but not without a little bit of without some caveats that even I noticed in the discussion and even from my own personal observation. Because just a few days ago, are we talking about a few days ago? Yeah, about 3 or 4 days ago, McFarlane went on a spree of pre-order announcements on social media. Pre-order announcements that to me feel almost somewhat thematically tied to spooky season, because I definitely did get a bit of a spooky season vibe coming from these pre-order launches. The first one was actually on September 6th, Saturday, September 6th, the day of my mom's birthday, so happy birthday to my mom. And it was on this day that they announced the collector's edition pre-orders going live on September 17th, 10 days later, or 11 days later, for both the Dr. Midnight from Justice Society of America and the Dark Side War Batman with Mobius Chair collector's edition, which is collector's editions number 47 and 48 respectively, going up for pre-order September 17th, which is in fact this coming Wednesday. Still on the fence as to whether or not I will put down the pre-order for the Mobius. Now, again, I've mentioned before that the Mobius chair is in fact getting a little bit of oversaturation, because I think this is the third time we've seen this goddamn chair being repainted and reutilized. If and when I do get this Batman, because it is at the end of the day a Batman figure, and I do cover Batman figures on the channel from McFarlane, despite the criticisms that have been thrown their way in this day and age, especially when, like I said, we have the likes of LPZZ and Mayfex and InArt and Figuarts doing stuff overseas, even some third parties that are starting to get a little competitive and starting to deliver on some slightly better quality. McFarlane, however, considering that this is possibly the swan song year, I still have the reactionary feeling in me to want to cover whatever it is that they're bringing forward. And from the initial reveals of these prototypes, or rather renders, during Comic-Con week, during their panel at Comic-Con, to now this official prototype photo in hand, along with the pre-order window, pre-order date, I'm still going to be covering it. And it would also be my first time getting the Mobius chair. But it also is not lost on me that this is, like I said, the third time seeing the Mobius chair, to the point where even some people in the comments are saying that this is not the accurate Mobius chair. Some people here are even mentioning that it should be a little bit bigger. But, of course, McFarlane's got to make do with what he has in the budget for this last remaining year. And that budget is probably going to be requiring an awful lot of retooling, reuse, and repainting. So that's going to happen. To be brutally honest, this wasn't necessarily the most captivating set of pre-order announcements. It was actually the next day, September 7th. The next 2 days, actually, September 7th and September 8th, that we had an awful lot of pre-order announcements from McFarlane Toys. Basically, the best way I can kind of compartmentalize all this is that McFarlane pretty much took almost every figure that was on that panel back in Comic-Con. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I could find it. Let me see if I can find it really, really quick on a separate page here. I don't know how well this is going to turn out, but let me see. SDCC McFarlane panel 2025. Oh, more or less. I actually found it right off the bat. Let me see if I can pull up a better picture here. Yas. Oh, it's actually on the Facebook post by none other than Toyshiz. Unfortunately, it's a very small picture. Kind of wish it was bigger, but you guys make the gist. I mean, we don't really need to blow up this picture. But we pretty much have all of these figures that were on this panel going up for pre-order literally next week, the 17th and the 18th. Well, all of these are for the 18th, and then those collector's editions that I mentioned before, which I believe is these two, go up for pre-order the 17th, and then everything that was practically on this frame, save for these two, this is going to be I don't know when this is coming, because it's going to be a Red Platinum, which means you have to find it in store. And then this is going to be a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, the Static Shock. But all these others right here, along with a couple of other nifty little surprises, go up for pre-order the 18th. Because over on the Twitter account, they announced that we're getting Mustache Batman, as I like to call it, because of the little guard that he's got right here, which is Earth 2 Society Batman, the DC Classic Comic Faithful Batgirl with a wired cape, at least I'm hoping is a wired cloth cape, which is a bug that we technically have seen before, but now it's repainted. This is a repaint, I understand that. Then we have, I'm going to skip this one for now, because again, going back to that panel, we pretty much have the other figures in that panel. Batman Hush Riddler, right there, with the suit and the hat and the bowler hat and the longer. If anything, he looks like goddamn. What's his name? Who does the voice of Spider-Ham? John Mulaney, the comedian. I think is his name, John Mulaney. It looks like John Mulaney as the Riddler. Hey, casting idea for DCU. Who knows? Batman Incorporated Batman, which is just 3 Jokers, only with a different belt and different coat of paint, and possibly a different head sculpt, from what I can tell, guys. This one is arguably the one that I'm looking at going, I don't know if I'm going to pick it up, but we'll see. Plus, I don't like the little glow around the bat symbol. I don't like that, if I'm being honest. So this one, I'm a little on the fence about. Spoilers, but that's kind of where I sit on that. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, I actually really do dig this DC Classic Scarecrow. I actually kind of like this. I like the look. Legs look a little skinny, and he looks a little too overly large on the torso area, if I'm being honest. But in terms of the detail of the paint, it's actually pretty top-notch. If he comes included with that skull accessory, that's neat. The head sculpt with the eyes and the hat, I actually dig this. And it's getting me just perfectly right in the mood for spooky season. And if that wasn't enough for spooky season, going back over here to what I skipped, Black Mask as Batman. This is actually the surprise that was not in that panel and kind of came out of left field. I actually kind of really dig this. I understand that from what I can tell from the body, it does look like it might be the Nightfall Buck again in terms of the body sculpt. And I feel like I've seen this belt before. I can't remember exactly which Batman it was, but I want to say I've seen it before. But what is in fact kind of overshadowing all that in a way that I'm like, all right, I might have to bite. I might just have to bite. Is that head sculpt. I really dig it. I really dig the skull, the pockets of the nose and the eyes, the sockets in there. And then that on top, you have the ears and the coat of paint. It actually looks pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. That next to the Scarecrow, like I said, it's getting very, very perfectly in mood for spooky season. Along with that, though, we also got this look at a color-swapped Flashpoint Batman as a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, very reminiscent of like the white and gray Grim Knight that went up for pre-order as a BBTS exclusive, I think a couple months back. If you don't have a Flashpoint Batman, I guess you could pick it up, but this is literally for completionists, for collectors. I don't feel motivated, if I'm being honest, despite red being my favorite color, but this is just, in my opinion, a little bit too much. I like the much cleaner look of the swapping of the colors for the palette, so to each their own. But in terms of like the Halloween focus stuff that was pulled from those panels, from that specific panel with all the pre-order launches that are going to be going up respectively on the 17th and 18th, it's actually more so the spooky month stuff that I think looked kind of neat. JM Herrera, welcome to the stream. Bro, have you read Batman #1? I hope McFarlane makes a figure for the new Batman. You're talking about Absolute Batman? For like for a good like couple 2-3 months now, I've been saying that their first Elite Edition Batman should be Absolute Batman. That way, if you're gonna be charging $60, you have no excuse to make that figure beefy, premium, solid, good articulation, good amount of accessories, a lot of plastic for like the spikes and the hammer or axe, whatever it is that he's got. It makes sense. I mean, like, come on, it writes itself. I was kind of excited for that Earth 2 Batman, but damn, they didn't give the accurate cape jacket thing he's supposed to have. Bones, I actually saw, I don't know where it went. I think I might have lost it somewhere in the subreddit, where someone mentioned that you could pull the cowboy I actually have him right here. Cowboy Batman, you can take his coat and put it on the that Earth 2 Batman. With that said, yes, I understand. McFarlane made it. Why didn't he put it on there? Yes, I know. I guess I was mildly blessed with ignorance in not knowing that that's where he comes from, because I didn't really read Earth 2 like that, but yeah, it is. Yeah, I get to. I'm only planning on getting Batgirl, Scarecrow, and Static Shock. Yeah, they managed to suck me back in. But the screw you to fans, there are moments where I do think that, like I said, we could be addressing things in a much more public manner where they can't be affording to not make statements on certain choices that they're making. And yet the fact that they're staying silent is almost just as culpable. That I'm like, all right. I mean, look at that BBTS exclusive. Like, I don't feel compelled to pick that up, but that's just because it's made for collectors, made for completionists. But then you have that Batman Inc. And out of all those like pre-orders that were unveiled this weekend officially, apart from like the renders that we had on the panel, from back in Comic-Con, that Batman Inc., Batman Incorporated Batman, I can tell it's just the Three Jokers Batman from Troika, with the different head and different coat of paint. And I can tell you right now, that's the one that I'm looking at and going, I don't know if I'll pre-order that. I think I might skip that one. I'm literally feeling like skipping on some figures already. Like, damn, man. So just more lazy reuse for Batman Inc. I was excited for it. I'll still get it because it might look better in person or to finally go with the Abyss, but as a wish, the Black Mask. Batman wasn't the Dick Grayson Batman arms and belt. Oh, is that what? Yes! It was the Dick Grayson Batman. That's where it was from. I knew I saw it somewhere. I knew it was familiar. No, the actual Batman #1 2025. Look up the suit's nice. Alright, I'm gonna have to look it up because I thought you were talking about Absolute Batman, but if that's different. So where's the Black Man? Okay, I already read that. This is from Batman Reborn, right? Because besides there's no reason to use his body again. Okay, so it's the Batman Reborn. I thought it was Nightfall, but yeah, you guys are right. Alex and Bones. It's Dick Grayson. Jesus Christ. Some of that stuff is literally Malibu Stacy with the new hat. What was Malibu Stacy again? Yeah, because that was the whole meme about it, right? From yeah, all I see is the stuff from The Simpsons. That's funny. People want classic Ivy and things that aren't made yet, or just simply a classic Black Mask, and they made this red Flashpoint bat. Yeah, like that was just like, and it gets unfortunately kind of worse because this is actually a perfect segue into something that, you know, what you were mentioning, Maurice Phillip, about how this feels kind of like a little bit of a screw you to fans, and how Alex points out that people have been wanting a classic Ivy, other characters that haven't been made, stuff from the Arkhamverse, a Arkham Knight Batmobile, etc. And yet I'm looking at that Flashpoint and thinking to myself, that's all I see are leftovers from the 2-pack that came with Professor Zoom, right? That diorama, and it's like, oh, we got leftovers, let's make it a BBTS exclusive. And it seems like they might have some leftovers of that Elite Edition Doomslayer, because also going up for pre-order, I think the week after next, and was unveiled for pre-order on September 10th, was this. And this one I actually did feel a little bit of that screw you feeling that Maurice Phillip was alluding to. McFarlane Toys, Doom the Dark Ages, Doomslayer Phalanx Skin Edition, based on the Doom the Dark Ages video game, launches for pre-order September 23rd at select retailers. Includes the exclusive Phalanx skin, which you can unlock in-game with the redeemable code inside the box. Only available with the purchase of the action figure. So what the fuck was the Elite Edition all about, McFarlane? Because now I'm looking at this picture and think, and immediately I can tell, oh, you just made a budget Doomslayer. Only with a different coat of paint. Instead of the accurate screen that you saw in the game, you then add this Phalanx skin that comes with the code to use in-game. But then you get rid of the faux fur cape and make it plastic or rubberized plastic. And you get rid of the chrome detailing, so you see how much paint is completely gone from the gloves and the gauntlets and the boots, and these panels right here. Remember when these panels were all chrome painted and the chainmail? The chain is now rubberized here instead of a die cast. So why make it Elite Edition? Or keep the Elite Edition for those who want to pay the premium price. But then this means you could have made a budget-friendly version. I mean, you're already making budget-friendly versions of Ross Superman figures that are like $12.99. You couldn't make a budget-friendly Doomslayer with the original colors and make it $24.99. The only way to get a budget version is to get this one that's not the right color, and it's red instead. Meanwhile, the people that did pay for their Elite Edition directly from McFarlane Toys aren't getting it. Posted on the McFarlane... Was it on the McFarlane Toys or was it on the actual... Yeah, it was on the McFarlane Toys a couple days ago. Someone posted an email that has also been received by others that McFarlane Toys, quote, "Unfortunately, we regret to inform you that a portion of the inventory allocated to online orders for the McFarlane Toy Store was erroneously delivered to retailers. As a result, we will not be able to fulfill your order. We understand how disappointing this is and apologize for this unfortunate mistake." Erroneously delivered to retailers. Well, now we know why there's so many fucking units over at Walmart. Now we know why there's so many Walmarts that are completely filled to the brim with some Doom Slayers, Elite Edition Doom Slayers. What is going on over there? And this kind of poses the question, did the Elite Edition series fumble before it even took off? And again, this kind of hurts considering that I mentioned this in that video that I mentioned, that I made as a form of a separate topic to talk about as far as what's going on with toy companies, charging like crazy for Elite Editions, the Maximum series, the Magic the Gathering collaboration for Marvel Legends, the Mortal Kombat figures are going for $30 a pop, despite having the amount of value packed inside of it of just a standard DC Multiverse release. But those were originally going for $22, $23.99, and now we're looking at $30. It's like, guys, what is? I'm getting a chicken with the head cut off sort of vibe happening from McFarlane. And despite all these, this combined with the recent pre-order launches of that panel that was unveiled at Comic-Con, and we still have absolutely no word on the Batman Returns wave going up for pre-order. Yes, it was shown off again at Comic-Con, along with that panel for the first time. So the Batman Returns wave was teased back in WonderCon, further back with renders. Then we had those prototypes shown off at Comic-Con, but then we had renders for the Batman Inc., for that Scarecrow, for that Riddler, for that Batgirl. But pre-orders are already launching for those latter mentioned DC Classics and Batman Incorporated and Mobius Chair Batman, already going out for pre-order, but still nothing on the returns. And then we're getting these logistical problems with the Elite Edition Doomslayer directly from McFarlane Toys as opposed to the retailers. Meanwhile, we get this pre-order going up. Yeah, I can't even defend this anymore. Like, you're the most incompetent folks when it comes to distribution. You guys announced that it does feel a little... Oh, wait, somebody just said it. Did somebody say it? Oh, no, they said something else. I was going to say, the word that comes to mind, or the term that comes to mind, rather, because it's technically two words, is tone deaf. This gets announced practically around the same time that these emails go out. They didn't even offer you a different figure consolation. Yeah. People are saying that this is probably where all the Walmart ones go to. And you even have moderators such as the legend Mechatils X, who even he's dumbfounded by it. And he's a moderator over at the McFarlane Toys Reddit. And even he's like, guys, I can't even defend this. Like, I don't even have an explanation for this. And it's heartbreaking. I will admit that. Because this was a company that had a good amount of faith in, and now I'm like, this is how it happened. Let me see some of you guys' comments. Personally, I would definitely like a Arkham Batmobile, Arkham Knight Batmobile. I haven't gotten any Batmobiles from McFarlane, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess. But at the same time, like I said, I'm a little dubious after the Pattinson Batmobile. Yeah, because Alex, like you said, they already made Doom Eternal figures before. I don't know why it's such a fumbling with the Elite Edition of the new one. Companies need to provide transparency. Just communicate with the customers. It can't be that hard. Yeah, like I very seldom. I think the last time that I saw them make a form of like an address as far as like stock or distribution, I think I could be wrong. I'm missing one, but the one that only pops in my mind that I saw firsthand when I opened like Instagram that morning was the '89 Keaton Batmobile and Batman figure 2-pack that was an Amazon exclusive. Where that pre-order went up, I put down my pre-order, went back to sleep, and then when I woke up, there was another post by them saying, "Hey, just to clarify, we're gonna have more stock available." In about 2 weeks' time, another post will be made for pre-orders of that new wave, and we'll let you guys know when that stock is allowed, and it will be up for you guys to nab. But I know that there's one other moment that they did that for another figure. I can't remember what it was. That couldn't have been the last one because that was, like I said, 2 years ago. And since then, they don't do that much anymore, where they talk about like stock or anything like that. The McFarlane Pattinson Batmobile is mid. It's a good thing why the Mattel one exists, and that's already been in my collection for a couple of years, already since 2023. That's all I need. GP, welcome to the stream. Will InArt make Spider-Man? No. That's all Marvel Legends and whatever Marvel is willing to tie up with. But let's just say that they're tied. I think I remember reading somewhere or hearing from. No, I think it was when I was at the event last year. Not this one, but last year where they had like a little Q&A event. I think they did touch base on them saying that they would have wanted. Oh my god, my YouTube crashed again. I think they mentioned saying that they would love to do a Marvel and even Star Wars, but they almost, I think somebody asked and they immediately went no. And to me, the body language and how reactive they were wasn't because they have anything against the characters, but it's the good old mouse that they do not want to fuck with. They don't have time for that. They immediately, you can tell that they were like, we do not want to deal. We already have licensing stuff, hurdles that we have to jump through with Warner Brothers and DC. Immediately they thought of going through Disney as like a company, as like a lawyer, almost practically a law firm. Not even as a company, as like a law firm. And they're like, nope, nope. They immediately was like, no. I was like, yeah, it's not happening. If you're looking for something that's Spider-Man and is probably scaled within InArt, or at least quality-wise within InArt, I almost want to say keep your eyes on 3.0, maybe, with that Gamerverse stuff. Otherwise, third party, because I know that there's that company called We Like Toys that they're making a Raimi Spider-Man 2-pack that comes with like the red and blue and the black suit. But that's third party, so you're not dealing with anything that's like officially licensed. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes I just feel like McFarlane doesn't want to do anything with DC anymore. I'm getting that like winded feeling where it's like, come on, guys. It's if anything, this should be. You should go out with a bang. You know, just because you know that you're ending, it's like you should plan. For some completely odd reason, Pattinson looks like either too tall or the Batmobile is too low and short next to the ground. No, like I said in the review, it looks too pancakey. What about the Sony Spider-Man? I guess these Spider-Man are not Disney property. They're not, but Sony arguably is even worse. Sony could potentially be even worse. They're the ones that are not letting Disney make Spider-Man movies without a secondary character. That's why whenever Tom Holland makes a Spider-Man movie, you have Doctor Strange in it. You have Iron Man in it in the first one. You have Mysterio in it in the second one. And then now in the fourth, Brand New Day, guess who's in it? Punisher and Hulk. It's never a singular Spider-Man story where he's the only hero, and that's Sony. That's not even a creative decision. That's just fucking Sony saying we have the rights. This is how you do it. Otherwise, we're making the Spider-Man movie. But then Marvel's like, but we're the ones making the Spider-Man movie. Okay, then I guess like Alex said, it's Marvel time. They're making the villain movies. Although, well, they were making the villain movies because apparently Sony finally figured out, all right, we're not doing those anymore. We're going to focus on Spider-Verse, finish that trilogy off, and cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know if it's my taste buds or what, but the water tastes funny. No, it doesn't smell good. To be honest, GP in that scale, yeah, I think it's over with. You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have to look at third party, and even then, it's funny because sometimes I feel like third party could be amazing Raimi figures, but when they get to amazing, you then get close to legal problems because sometimes I feel like there's such a thing. This is kind of a tinfoil hat theory, but I feel like sometimes these third party companies, there's no way to prove this, but my theory would be that sometimes these third party companies could be making amazing looking Tobey Maguire figures, but if they make them too good, the likeness is too on point that they're like that. Then Sony and these companies are gonna be like, shut that shit down. That looks too good. You're infringing on our copyright. Literally, it literally plays like that's nuts. Well, no, Alex, I think it's my taste buds because I was just drinking coffee prior to this, so that's probably what it is. But it doesn't smell bad. And this is a brand new, and it doesn't expire until like 2027. Okay, see, now it doesn't taste bad. I don't know. And it wasn't tasting bad before. It just, like I said, kind of minerally, like super filtered. Mezco or InArt Arkham City Batman. And JM Herrera, thank you for giving me a segue into one of the last topics that we're gonna slightly breeze through a little bit, provided that I even have it. Oh, where did I go? Where did I put it? I'm gonna have to go over to their official Twitter, pull up the site, pull up the page. That's another thing to keep in mind for October, guys. New York Comic Con. And I know for a fact that we have a lot of these companies going to New York Comic Con. Definitely not the foreign companies that I just mentioned, like InArt and LPZZ. They have WF Shanghai to worry about. But when it comes to McFarlane, most definitely, Marvel Legends, and then possibly Mezco will be attending. They announced that they will be attending New York Comic Con to maybe show off a little bit more of the Mezco Dark Knight Batman, which just went up for pre-order. This is from their site. This was teased a little while ago, but finally here at the beginnings of September, they announced that they are, in fact, going to be giving us a 1/12 scale, fully, felt good suit, like they always tend to do, covered, 1/12 collective, Mezco Toys, Dark Knight Batman, from the Christian Bale Christopher Nolan movie. And yeah, there are little areas here and there where the suit either looks kind of good as far as like the paneling and the stitching, and then there's other times where a little bit of the proportioning looks a little off, like the elbows look a little funky here in this shot. Here the mouth expression and the wide eyes do look kind of neat, the little gel gun, and then it is gonna come with the Christian Bale head sculpt, which looks a little exaggerated in this scale, but of course Mezco has done that before a little bit when it comes to like exaggerated likeness to someone that we've seen be in live action, be a real person. It doesn't look bad, but it still looks like something that I'm cautiously optimistic about. This shot actually does look pretty nice. I'm almost getting the same vibes that I did with like the animated series Batman, where like certain shots look good and then there's other shots where I'm like, but I feel like I'm a bit more favorable on this one than I was on the animated series. The animated series definitely had some problems when it came to like the skinniness of the legs and the waist, to give him that Bruce Timm style that they weren't quite nailing. So I'm hoping that they're overhauling that right now. Whereas this guy, I feel like he doesn't have much that needs to be worked on. Like this shot right here is actually pretty nice. I like how the eyes are a little bit more indented inside to look like there's an actual like head inside of the cowl. The paint apps behind the lips and the mouth plate is pretty nice. The sculpt on the suit is not too bad. And then we get to here where, like I said, here like on the head and the torso, not bad, but then the arms look a little skinny. The legs could probably use some padding and look a little short compared to the top half of the body. So yeah, I'm a little mixed. That facial expression is not bad, but then the one with the teeth is a little kooky. Yeah, so you see that right here. So I do appreciate, though, the inclusion of the value inside of the package for 116 is not too bad, because like I said, you're dealing with a felt good suit, the cape, the base. Not only do you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Are those the fists? If those are the fists, then okay, then I'm not going to say 14. 12 total hands, but then you get 5 heads for the different expressions, including the Christian Bale head sculpt. And what I'm guessing is also an unmasked head sculpt or an empty cowl, although I don't see that here in any of the accessories, which is kind of strange. But you are going to come with the backpack, the sticky bomb launcher, of course, batarangs, the sticky bombs, 2 batarangs, 2 grapple hooks, grapple cartridge, and then the grapple gun. And then one final shot right there, iconic from the Dark Knight movie. So not too bad. I'll definitely keep it on the radar, but it's still dealing with a little bit of what I like to call that Mezco jank that I always kind of sort of keep at arm's length. That's not too tinfoil hat. It actually makes sense. They can mostly get away with it so long as they're not big of a threat. The moment they do, that's when the hammer gets dropped. In-art creators would be crazy. If in-art ever wants to delve into video games, there's a market for that. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes what they call like the microplastics. I hate the excuse that McFarlane makes. The excuse we can't make the faces too accurate, or else it'll have to cost more. And I'm just like, what? What does that even mean? Bale and JL Affleck have a damn good likeness for the price. Oh, the ones that were like in that 3-pack, Alex, the Mezco one. Yeah, that too. Like the pricing is where puts things into perspective. Like 116 for that Mezco, but then for that same Batman from Dark Knight Returned, I'm sorry, Dark Knight Rises from InArt, which is technically MSRP'd at like what $65 for the deluxe edition that comes with the Bale head sculpt. And I know that right now it's a bit more difficult with like the tariffs, so it kind of rolls it into the $100 range. But still, you look at the two and you're like, Jesus, dude. And also, before I forget, while we're on the subject of McFarlane being a little iffy here and there, one other little ripple effect that we felt a little while ago. This is kind of old news. Some of you may already know about this. There was apparently a bit of a leak in regards to some of the DC Multiverse stuff coming up here. So even though we did get these new wave of pre-orders going live, apparently there's this listing here of some people saying that we're getting some more Superman related stuff, Justice League related stuff. We have a Flash, Superman from Superman the Authority, Rocket Red, and Ice from Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. Gotta be honest, some of this stuff I don't really care for. Then I saw the Batman and I'm like, ooh, and then it says the Batman Who Laughs, black and white with accents. So another exclusive repaint of some kind. Oh, God. Elongated Man, Cosmic Boy, Collector's Edition. So we got some more Collector's Editions. A Professor Pig, which is interesting, but at the same time, where's that from? Is that from Arkham Knight? I doubt it. Oh! Hold on. Let me skip ahead a little bit here. We have some UFC stuff. But the main thing in the TMNT stuff, Transformers 1/3 scale head? They're doing Transformers like head sculpts, head busts? Like the cowls? They got the Transformer license? Here's the TMNT stuff that they've been teasing in the IDW comics. Some more statues, Marvel Rivals that they did tease are going to be doing the statues over at Comic-Con. So there's that stuff right there. Gladiator Movie Maniacs. A Batcave from the animated series playset. I don't know what this is. I think these are page punchers. More from, I don't know what comic this is going to be, but it comes with like Green Lanterns and 2 Flashes. There's that Commando Penguin pack from Batman Returns. That's part of the leak. I don't know why that's listed at the leak. But the reason for why I wanted to bring up this leak here before I forget is because it's also throws it back to what I just mentioned about the Elite Edition. And whether or not the Elite Edition is truly losing just a teensy bit of wind and potential credibility. Because on this screen right here, this piece of the document, at the very bottom, it's a little cut off. But you'll notice it says DC McFarlane Collector Edition Zatanna. Guys, did Zatanna get demoted? As OP even mentioned in the comments. Interesting thing is Zatanna is listed as Collector's Edition instead of Elite like she was announced at SDCC. Someone else mentioned, I'm worried that they are going to drop Detective Chimp, cut that accessory out, and just make it a Collector's Edition. It's entirely possible that the slides shown at the con weren't labeled correctly. But he he But didn't they say, like verbally, that she was collector's edition? So it wasn't. So Mecha Tales, no offense, but I don't think that was a mistake. I think they saw the feedback, and they're reverting her to a collector's edition. Which, in hindsight, for all intents and purposes, I guess it's a good thing, because it is at least going back to what I mentioned in that exact video, in that exact topic from that stream, where I said that Zatanna should have been a collector's edition, not elite, because it feels kind of scummy that they're making her elite. Like I said, it will likely be at the behest of cutting out the detective chip accessory to afford making her a collector's edition. But like I said, the silver lining would be that she's not going to be priced out for people that were waiting on that Zatanna this entire time. And in the meantime, you know who is going to be getting the collector's edition treatment in a way that is fitting, in a way that makes sense, is Spawn himself. McFarlane Elite Edition, Spawn. Of course. That's a no-brainer. Like, Spawn getting his Elite Edition, his own Elite Edition within the wave. You know, giant cape, or maybe even two capes. One felt good, one sculpted to look pretty dynamic, like in the comics. The die-cast chains up the ass. Weapons, accessories, skulls, paintwork, sculpting, all that jazz. I can definitely see it. And whether or not I pick it up, I'll have to see those images first, but there's potential there. I'm trying my best to not make eye contact with the middle part of this slide that says that they are literally having the gall to bundle a flight stand set to sell on the side. Remember when I was saying why McFarlane doesn't include flight stands in their figures anymore? I'm hoping that this is just a rumor, because again, this is something that you most definitely need to take with a grain of salt. It is, in fact, just a leaked document, completely unconfirmed, alleged, unconfirmed, not locked down. But boy, if y'all literally are now taking the flight stands that you've been holding out this entire time on figures that should have came with flight stands, like Corn Sweat's Superman, or literally any Superman figure, or any flying character, and this is what you put them into, boy. Can glaze it? All right, JM, really quick. Batman, number 1, 2025. Hey, that's a. Is it like Matt Fraction who's doing this? Yeah, it is Matt Fraction. Is this it? It's not bad. it really does not look bad. I do like it. Do I think it's like badass? Not necessarily, but it's. I kind of wish the blue was maybe a little darker. But overall, not bad. I can see this being made into. Well, let's put it this way. Is this going to be made into a figure by McFarlane before he loses the license? Yes. Is it going to be an original figure? No. I can literally already see the Nightfall bug in this. I can see it. Which is why I push rather heavily for absolute Batman. I think this is more so a artwork designed by somebody. I don't think this is officially this right here. Which is why I'm pushing for this guy to be the first Elite Edition Batman. Come on. Look at that. But yeah, that Matt Fraction Batman, it doesn't look bad, and most likely will get a figure. But I personally, I don't know why, but my spidey senses are saying he's gonna reuse a body. It's gonna be a reused body. I'm sorry. Yeah, and Alex, you make a good point. Like, you can only make a first impression once, even if they come up with a new. Oh, actually, oh my God, I almost forgot. Let's say we tune in to that new McFarlane Toys Show episode number 7, which is next week. Actually, for those of you who do not know, they did in fact announce that they're going to be doing a McFarlane Toys Show next week, September 17th, I want to say. Let me go back to their social medias and pull it up right here. Here we go. Here we go. In honor of Batman Day, September 18th. Friday, September 8th. No, Thursday, I'm sorry, September 18th at 12 p.m. So I'm trying to decide if I should stream it live or if I should let it play, should watch it and then go live afterwards and skim through it once it's in better quality. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Should I do it live or should I do it after the fact with like collected thoughts? But we do have a 7th episode of the McFarlane Toy Show in honor of Batman Day. Oh my God, I literally am just noticing there's something in the background. Holy shit, I never noticed that. What is that? It's the returns wave. Finally. It's the returns wave. Holy shit, guys, I'm just finding this out right now. After asking for where the returns wave is, it's right, guys. It's right there. Look, there's Keaton, and and at first I thought it was maybe Clooney with like the Panther suit, but no. There's the Penguins. There's Penguin right there, covered up by the Spawn logo inside of toys. I just noticed that. Holy shit! All right, they're coming. They're coming. They're coming. But yeah, what Alex was saying is that we get to this show, we watch it, they announce that Zatanna is now going to be a collector's edition as opposed to Elite. There's already some people that you lost, and you just have to accept the fact that they're not gonna come back. You know, they already got that weird taste in their mouth. Because stupid will say they will try and make a line to complete with the maximum series. Me and McFarlane will learn from this, and this might go better than how horribly they handled the Armor Kickstarter spawn. Yeah, because that took way too long. Just like Bill O'Reilly live. CJ Yo-Yo, welcome to stream. What he should do is make the normal Batman from the Batman and Superman world's finest comic to go with the Fusion Batman. But please, everyone, can we all push for an Elite Absolute Batman, Elite Arkham City Batman, please? Arkham City, I don't know, but Absolute, like I said, I think that one is actually very well in the cards. Maybe they've reworked the flight stands. Bones, I will say that. If they're not the same flight stands that have been there before... Oh my god, who am I kidding? Yeah, that would probably be the only thing that I can justify a flight stand set. If it's not like the rigid ones, but it's an actual like the ones that like Mafex and Figuarts do, where it's like that, and it's got the articulated arm, and you can actually like move the clamps, and they're much more rigid. Maybe they have like a spring-loaded mechanism. A set of like 3 or 4, $20 maybe. I'll be like, okay, you know, maybe. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Okay, so seriously, guys, that show next week, should I do it live or should I wait for them to stream it and then I'll go live afterwards? What should I do? So far, it looks like I got 2 votes for doing it live. even though they're quoting Bill O'Reilly with it. While you guys post those votes, so to speak, really quick, Marvel Legends had a stream just 2 days ago at 11 a.m. Eastern, at 8 a.m. Pacific here in California, which means I sure as hell was not watching it live. I caught it after breakfast. And I gotta be honest, for me personally, it was a bit of a nothing burger. It was really dominated by an awful lot of like this cosplay stuff. They tackled the Wolverine helmet once more, but then revealed that they're going to be doing a Daredevil helmet with the billy clubs, which I gotta be honest, for the price, I think you're better off saving even more money and commissioning someone on Etsy for something a bit more realistic looking. Sorry. And then we have Target and Walmart exclusives of like these retro card things, which are undoubtedly going to be canceled. In fact, people in the comment section were saying, "Yay!" Hold on.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Yo, are they gone?
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
Tom.
Yo, I think they got suppressed.
How have we got to town?
I saw a bunch of comments on that first day that of people saying, "Great, I can't wait to get my Target orders canceled." And now they're gone. I don't know if I really hope Hasbro's not deleting comments. I swear to fucking God. Let me do sort by newest first. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more of the call-outs to canceled orders. I see some criticisms in terms of like joints and selections, but I don't see anybody mentioning the whole cancellation of orders. Because yeah, guys, like, you're really not going to address the fact that a lot of people, more than you could afford to have, are getting Target and Walmart ordered exclusives canceled for no goddamn reason. Come on. But yeah, it looks like more are going to be joining that series of canceled orders with this animated series Mysterio, Storm, and Mystique. Although I think those I could have sworn those were already out, especially that Mystique. I don't know. It's getting hard to keep track. Comic-Con exclusive. I think this is for New York Comic-Con. The scroll with the different pieces, I guess. Like I said, this overall stream was kind of a nothing burger for me. You have a Star Fox and Champion set, I guess. Fan channel and Amazon exclusive. You have who is this? I can't even remember her name. I don't know who this is, but yeah. I don't like I said, I'm lost. And then this segues us, actually, I guess, with her, Farrell is her name. With her is the bulk of the stream, which is this new mini comic wave. I cannot wait to see these up on the pegs and start getting clearanced out, just like the last mini comic wave over at Target's. The only one that remotely tickled my pickle ever so slightly, like at the tip of my pickle, is the Daredevil. is the Daredevil, obviously, because it's Daredevil. I'm gonna go on the limb and say that within Marvel, Daredevil is probably my second favorite. Obviously, number one is Spider-Man, but I want to say Daredevil is my second favorite Marvel hero. I almost want to say, by the way, I think it was the coffee, because the more I'm drinking water, the more it's starting to just taste normal. It doesn't have that flavor anymore. So I think it was the coffee. Yeah, I did have like a really flavored coffee. It had like two flavors mixed in one to the K-cups and hazelnut creamer. So that's probably what it was. Yeah, this guy maybe, because I do like the little detail. I do think it's kind of funny that this shot makes me laugh, because you can tell, how the fuck is he supposed to read the comic? This is fucked up. He's not looking at it. He could be holding a napkin for all we know. For all he knows. Oh, God. Who did no one like check this? No one checked with marketing that this was a good idea. All right. Okay. I do like his kicks though. But yeah, I just everything else, even Teddy Bear, Hank McCoy Beast, there was nothing here for me. Almost nothing here. And then we have a one-off Silver Surfer as part of this card with from Secret Wars. Again, can't wait to see it, sitting on the pegs. Because there were so many of the Secret Wars figures that were just sitting on pegs at my local Target. So, I don't know. I can't remember who this guy... Oh, Deathbird and Gladiator 2-pack, I guess. Checkboxing stuff. And then the tease for the Punisher game. Another Gamerverse set. This, I could probably see there being... Like, the people who are probably behind the MVC stuff will probably take to this set and be like, oh, this is kind of cool. Even I looked at it and thought, this is a pretty novel set. I could see the hype behind this guy, for example. With the bluish tint Punisher suit and the guns. They actually got guns. They didn't cut them out. There was actually a comment. Thank you for not being pussies about guns anymore. That was the dark period we went through with those clown weapons. Yeah. So I'll give them credit for that. And then their little Easter egg teases. I have no idea what they were, but that was it. And again, to be a little tinfoil hatty, one can't help but wonder if maybe Ryan held some of that really nice novelty that some of these Marvel Legends streams used to have, and now I'm looking at them like, there's nothing for me here. But you know who else is not here? Ryan. Oh man, that Daredevil bit made me laugh more than I should. If Hasbro's deleting comments, yeah, because I'm not seeing any more comments about the exclusives and stuff. Yeah, for the Marvel Legends JM Hura, I saw like they're like 30 now, the full-on 30. Big C Richie, are we thinking the Batman Returns line is still happening? Big C Richie, you just missed it. I made a discovery. Big C Richie, I don't know if you're still watching, but really, really quick as a last thing for the stream, because I am going to head out here. Nature calls, if you catch my drift. And it's almost dinner time. And like I said, I want to get back to editing the LPZZ Batman review. Here we go. So that's the last thing. Big C Richie, McFarlane announced that they're going to be doing a episode 7 of the McFarlane Toy Show next week. Exactly a week from now, September 18th at 12 p.m. Pacific. However, reveals, pre-orders, giveaways, and more. If you look a little closely, I then realized, oh shit, look at that. And I just noticed Catwoman right here on the right. There he is. Batman. Penguin with his face covered up by the Spawn logo of the toys lettering. The penguin, the little penguins, the cyborg penguins here on the side, on the corner. There's Catwoman. Here's Keaton Batman. And Max Schreck is not in the shot, but I want to say that's his sleeve and his coat right here on the far, far right. Right there. So it's coming. If anything, pre-orders are probably going to launch next week as well. Or best case scenario, the week after, because on the 18th, we already have some pre-orders already going live for like the Batman Inc. and the Black Mask as Batman and the Scarecrow and the Riddler. So they're probably going to want to pace themselves a little bit. They don't want too many people to use up the entire paycheck. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, they are coming real quick. But hey, dude, what message should we spam on the live stream? Well, JM Hera, to be honest, we shouldn't be spamming. We shouldn't be spamming. That gets annoying. You know, we don't want to risk getting kicked out. That Daredevil is an ideal army builder, but not at that price. Yeah. Like, swap out the heads and use them for, like, the Foot Clan or the Hand. Something like that. Oh yeah, Maurice, you're right. Yeah, he can do that. Although that's the kind of thing that probably only in the comics it kind of makes sense, but then if you were to bring it into like the Netflix show or even in the movies, it's like okay, guys, I'm gonna call it here because, like I said, I really need to get back to editing, but also we're coming up on dinner time, and I'm pretty certain I have to use the restroom. So, this was a good one. This was a good packed one. I'm actually holding steadfast with the stamina, but I think that the coffee that I drank this morning really helped because one of the K cups was a blonde roast. And for those of you who don't know, blonde roast actually has more caffeine in it. The lighter the roast, the more caffeine. The darker the roast, the stronger the flavor, but the less caffeine you put in your system, so you're not going to be as hyped. So I'm definitely thanking that coffee for carrying me through the stream and for giving me enough energy to keep filming and keep editing for the rest of the day, so I should be fine. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. JM Hera, like you mentioned, remind us the day before. If anything, either, I don't know about this week, but like early next week, I'll probably do a poll and ask people, not just you guys, but also you can vote. You guys can also vote on the poll as well. But I'll ask the general audience, like, hey, if I stream that day, unless something life related intervenes, if I stream that day, would you guys want to see me cover it in real time, live, or stream after the show live stream and rewind through it and skim through it and do all that? So I don't know, but I'll probably put up a poll just to ask folks, gauge it, that sort of thing. Yeah, but like I said, I gotta get back to editing. Light roasts are the way to go. Dark roasts start to taste like charcoal. Yeah, as an adult, I'm starting to gravitate towards a light roast because even though flavor might not be like the most impactful thing, the body starts to feel it a little while later where I'm like, I need the energy, don't get enough sleep, this is coming in clutch. So anyways, Bones, JM Herrera, Maurice Phillip, Alex, CJ Yo-Yo, Big C Richie, Big Rib, a lot of bigs in here. Who else? Who else was here? GP. I know I'm missing somebody. Spartan 107. Yo, enough comments in the chat that it's not letting me see earlier. So apologies if I'm missing your name, but anybody who was partaking in the chat and who also lurked in the stream, thank you guys for tuning in to this pretty packed show. But like I said, I got to get back to editing the LPZZ Arkham Knight Batman review and comparison, which I'm aiming to have up by this weekend. That's all I'm going to say. This weekend. And then start working on covering and playing around with the Mafex Andrew Spider-Man. And seeing where those things take me. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This was a great one. CM Brock, thank you for not only tuning into the live stream and commenting, but also for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you. If it's on Discord, would you speak or should we speak? I don't think they're gonna allow people in the Discord, but we'll see. I don't know how that plays out. That's right. Castro, Jesus Castro, yeah, Jesus Castro, CM Punk. I did say that. ZL. Yeah, I got most of the people. And like I said, anybody who I forgot, apologies. Like I said, the chat actually went long enough that it cut off at a certain point, and anybody who lurked, I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Like I said, it could be next week for that McFarlane Toy Show or after the fact, but I'll keep you guys posted. In the meantime, though, stay tuned for future content, future reviews, and until then, stay humble. Peace out.